Hey YouTube, my name is KushiKush, aka Kush. Before we really get into it, I just want to say a quick thank you to the sponsor, me. So if you want to support me and what I do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It honestly helps me a ton. But besides that, I'm going to be talking about the deck, my thoughts on it, and why it took such a long time to really put this out. Well, I've been working on this since January, and it's been a long time coming, and I think it's about ready to be put out. Now, is this deck the end-all be-all, the best pendulum deck in the universe? No, I think it's really good, and I think it's very fun. The very fun being more important than the very good. You're not going to be winning top-tier tournaments with this, but if you're playing this in gold, platinum, diamond, you're going to be having fun. It's a very fun deck. You can grind your way out of it. That's why it's 60 cards. You have a lot of combos. There's a lot of possibilities. If you're a big brain thinker, this is your deck. So let me say straight off the bat, there are new Draco Slayer cards that are not in Master Duel. They are going to be coming very, very soon. I don't know when. I've been waiting for them to come out. They are going to be added into the deck when they come out, and I'm going to be definitely working on this again. But as of now, we're just running the basic vanillas. I say basic vanillas, but when you think about it, you have extremely powerful synchro boss monsters that can just summon them out of the deck, and you can also run a fairly free-to-play card called Unexpected Die. Now, I'm using free-to-play loosely because look at this: super rare, super rare, super rare, super rare, ultra rare, super rare. Some of the cards are included in the Pendulum Magician structure deck, which if you buy 3 copies for 1,500 gems, you can, get a lot of the cards in here, like the Harmonizing, the Skullcrobat Joker, the Wisdom Eye, but then some of them you need to craft, like Purple Poison Magician, Extra Pendulum, Draco Face-Off, and a Draco Engine. And if we look at the extra deck, it's just full of a lot of stuff. The extra deck is not complete. I've been messing around a lot. I will talk about my favorite cards in the extra deck, my favorite cards in the main deck, and the different archetypes and how they all blend together. Besides that, let's talk about the different archetypes that are combined in this one deck. We have the Dracoslayers. They're a pendulum engine that mainly is special summonable through the deck using Draco Face-Off, a very powerful spell card. You can also use Unexpected Die if you control no monsters. And you can special summon it if you manage to get a synchro on the field to level 8 Ignister. You can use the second effect and special summon a Draco Slayer from your deck directly. Are they really, really good? No, but the spell is very good and they work. They help the deck a little bit. Just getting 2 monsters on the field before your initial pendulum summon allows you to go into Electromite, which is the most important link monster in the extra deck, and it just gets the ball rolling even quicker. So that's why we're running it. You could definitely cut down the number. In fact, you could probably cut it down to 111. I don't like risking it because if you open up with 1 and you're running 1, the Draco Face-Off isn't going to work. I don't like stuff like that. That's not my cup of tea, so I'm just maxing out on the numbers. Besides that, we're also going to talk about the Sympathronic engine. Now, this is funny to me because I thought these cards were trash. Well, they were trash to me until this card came out, and then also this card came out. This one especially, this one's amazing. Essentially what this engine is the pendulum effect of Sympathronic Warrior Guitaar. Discard 1 card, special summon 1 Sympathronic Warrior monster from your deck. It's a scale 7, which is really good in this deck because the only monster that's a level 7 that you can't pendulum is astrograph, and you're usually special summoning it up from the hand. Everything else works with it, and just being able to get a monster on the field and go into Electromite before your initial pendulum summon is very good. The monster that Warrior is going to special summon is Warrior DJJ, and this guy, when he's special summoned, you could special summon a Sympathronic from your deck in face down. So it's really good that you get a special summon 1 from your deck. It's not even really good, it's amazingly good. But when it's in face down, it means you can't use it for a link summon, you can't use it for an XYZ, you can maybe use it for a fusion, but it shouldn't really matter too much because it's just a little bit of extra advantage. And the monster that I choose to always special summon in face down defense is perfect. It's a flip monster. It's not a pendulum though, which does kind of suck, but it's Symphonic Warrior Synthess. When it's flipped face up, you can add a Sympathronic Warrior from your deck to your hand. There have been games where I just had 1 card, this card, I top deck any random card, discard it, special summon this other guy, set this card, and then I have like an engine going, a small engine. It kind of protects me when I'm in the grind game. This is a 60 card deck, by the way, so your chances of opening up with this 1 copy of the card that you don't want in your opening hand are really low. They're lower than in a 40 card deck. Can it happen? Of course it can. But is it likely to happen? Not as much. And the last Sympathronic is Warrior Guitariss. I don't know why there's two S's there. But this guy is really important simply for the fact that it's a level 3 tuner. And not only that, when it's normal or special summoned, you can just target a card in your Pendulum zone, return it back to the hand. That means anything that's in your scale can go back to your hand. You can play around a lot of things, but it being a tuner is extremely important because there's a synchro monster, Symphonic Warrior rocks, which it literally rocks. It's really good. Every time it's special summoned and it's a level 7 and it's a pendulum, so it goes back to the extra deck every time, you add a face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Helps a lot in the grind game. Also, if it dies, it becomes a scale. It's a scale 10, which is the highest number in the deck. Cool. And then also, when it's in the scale, you can add a pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand during your opponent's standby phase, during your standby phase. It's just it's a lot of advantage. If you're triggering this guy, you're probably not losing the game. The only problem with the Symphonic engine is that I don't see it enough. It's not searchable with any of the Performapals. It's not searchable with any of the Wisdom Eye, the Magicians, or even the Draco Slayers. So your only chance of actually seeing this engine is drawing it, which isn't bad. I mean, that's like normal Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, right? You have to draw a card in order to use it. But generally in Pendulums and in really fast decks, you have a lot of ways to be able to search a card. Like Wisdom Eye can just become any Magician. You have Joker, which can search out any Performapal Magician, and then you have Draco Face-Off, which is special summon any of the Dracos. The last two engines I'm going to be combining together, it's the Performapal, which is Performapal Lizardraw, Ladyange, you got Pendulum Sorcerer, and what is it? You got Skullcrobat Joker, and Gertrude. There's also some other ones that like Daggerman, Odd Eyes Butler, and Odd Eyes Seer. Now, the ratios are not perfect, like I said. In fact, if you were really tight on this deck and you wanted to cut some things down, you can cut down Seer to 1, you can cut down Butler to 1, you can cut down Daggerman to 1. Lizardraw draws you 1 card, it destroys itself. Ladyange, if it's in the graveyard, it can become on scale. If it's in your hand, you discard another Performapal, draw 2 cards. Gentrude, excuse me. When it's destroyed, either as a monster or on the Pendulum scale, it can search out any Performapal and become in the Pendulum scale. Really powerful effect. Also, if it's in the extra deck, you discard a Pendulum monster, add it back to your hand. So it gives you a lot of utility. And then we have Daggerman. It grabs a Performapal from your graveyard, adds it back to your hand. Odd Eyes Butler, if it's in your hand or in the graveyard, you destroy a Performapal or Odd Eyes. We don't run Odd Eyes, so it's only Performapal. Special summon this guy on the field. It really helps with getting 2 monsters on the field. You can go into Electromite quicker. And Odd Eyes Seer. This one is a little bit interesting. If you Pendulum summon it in defense, it can act as a Foolish Burial, and it can send any Performapal from your deck to the graveyard. Best targets, I would say, are Butler, hands down, and Ladyange, because if you control an Odd Eyes or Performapal Gentrude, you can just place it back on your scale. And you can even send any of the other Performapals, and if you have Daggerman as a scale, you can just add back what you send. So you do have a little bit of variety there. And finally, we have Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. Destroys 2 cards, adds 2 Performapals from your deck to your hand. Also, if it's on a scale, if you Pendulum summon a Performapal, they all gain 1,000 attack. Cool stuff. And Joker, which is just literally normal summon, add 1 Performapal, Magician, or Odd Eyes from your deck to your hand. And finally, I'm going to be talking about the Magician engine. This engine's powerful because now you have really good cards like Purple Poison Magician. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, whether it's on the Pendulum scale or it's on the field, target a face-up card on the field, destroy it. You have Harmonizing, which is my favorite tuner in the entire deck. If it's Pendulum summoned from your hand, you can special summon a Magician, Pendulum monster from your deck. Your targets are Purple Poison, you have Oath Dragon, who you can just go into a Synchro 10 Baron de Fleur. You also have Performapal Celestial Magician. You do have quite a bit of target, and you also have Wisdom Eye. So you do have quite a bit of targets. Wisdom Eye can destroy itself, become any of the other Magicians. It can become Harmonizing to scale 8. It can become Purple Poison scale 1. It can become Oath scale 2, but it can also grab Magicians from your extra deck back to your hand, which is nice because it's reoccurring effects. And then we have Performapal Celestial Magician. Not only does it work with the Performapal engine, which is already decent, it also works with the Magician engine, which is very powerful and potent. And not only that, it has a normal summon effect where if you control another Pendulum monster during the end phase, you can add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Not too shabby. The final card I'm going to be talking about is Astrograph. This is neither a Performapal, Magician, Draco Slayer, or Sympathronic. This is its own card. It's limited to 1 for a reason. This card is the main card you search out with Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. This is the combo. You summon Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, it searches your deck for the 1 copy of Astrograph. It's all the way to the right. Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, activate its effect, pop a card in your scale, add back astrograph from your extra deck, special summon it, you get a draw, you get a search from astrograph, and if the card you popped has an effect like Purple Poison or Gentrude, you can even like do something there. So there's a lot of things you can do in this deck that I really love. If we talk about the spells, we have Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is simple. The card we want to send to our graveyard. Butler. We can also send any of the Performapals if we have a Daggerman in our opening hand, because Daggerman could just add any of them from our graveyard to our hand. So essentially Foolish Burial just becomes an effect that says, hey, add a Performapal from your deck to your hand. Unexpected Die can special summon any of the Draco Slayers directly from your deck. The one I usually special summon is Master Pendulum. I like this one a lot. And we have Duelist Alliance. If you control a card in your Pendulum zone, you can just search your deck for a monster that says Pendulum in its name or a spell that has Pendulum. The spell you usually search out is Extra Pendulum, which literally says, hey, you can Pendulum again, but only from the extra deck. What that means is, if you have like an Electromite on the field and you already Pendulumed once this turn, you can special summon 2 monsters to where those 2 zones point to. It's kind of useful, and the final card is just Draco Face Off. I'm gonna be going in the extra deck a little bit quickly. We have Dino Master Power, Draco Slayer monster, and a Pendulum monster. It makes it so your Pendulum monsters in your monster zone and in your Pendulum zone can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. That's just a board protection. It's a powerful effect. Also, you can just special summon a Draco Slayer Pendulum from your graveyard or your hand. And that's kind of nice, but usually if I ever go into it, which is very rare, it's just for board protection. Next up, we have Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. This can copy a monster's effect on the field or in the graveyard, and then it gives all of your monsters Pierce, which means that if they attack a defense position, it hits through the defense and they take damage. And the good thing about these 2 fusion monsters is that you just need to have the Pendulum monster in your field. It can even be face down. You can still summon this guy. It's like a Link summon. It's like summoning a Link 2 for both of these, which is really cool because look at that. Look at those amazing stats for a Link 2. Besides that, we have Ignister the Prominence. This is the boss monster for the Ignister deck. It's a Synchro 8. You can destroy a Pendulum monster on your field or in your Pendulum zone, and then you can just shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. If your opponent thinks they can chain to the target, they can. They have to activate whatever cards they want before this card effect finishes. Otherwise, the card that they might have wanted to activate is going to get shuffled and can't do anything about it. Also, you can just special summon a Draco Slayer from your deck in defense position. It's just a super good bonus. Next up, we have Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. This is when it's synchro summoned, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Attack, defense, doesn't matter. If it's face-up, it's destroyed. It's like a Raigeki for face-up monsters. Also, if it attacks, you can destroy that monster it attacks and then inflict damage equal to that monster's attack. This card is exclusive to Pendulum decks, that's why you don't see it running around a lot, but it is very powerful. Next up, we have Tilting Entertainment. This card is garbage. The only reason I put this card in this deck is because it's a new card. It came out in like one of the newest sets in Master Duel, and I really wanted to test it out. I'm like, maybe this card's really good. It's just bad. Essentially what it says is when it's special summon, it's a Synchro 8, which is kind of easy to make. You can special summon a level 4 or lower Pendulum monster from your hand or face-up extra deck. So that's kind of cool, right? It's just kind of lackluster because if this monster attacks or Pendulum monster attacks, at the end of the damage step, you can destroy the opponent's monster if it's not destroyed. That's it. It doesn't do really anything else other than that, and it's not even a Pendulum monster, so it's just lackluster. I'm gonna take it out in the next future build, but I wanted to include it. It is a Pendulum support card, and you might be interested to try it. Next up, we have Baron de Fleur. It's a Synchro 10. You can make Synchro 10s in this deck, and essentially it's just destroy a card on the field, and if your opponent activates anything, monster, trap, spell, negate it. Also, it has an effect where you can like return it back to the extra deck, special summon a monster in your graveyard. Pendulums don't go to the graveyard, so that effect is going to be useless unless you have like a Synchro in your graveyard that you want to bring back. Mainly just Ignister. And the final one, which I like, is Symphonic Warrior Rocks. If it's special summoned, you can add a Pendulum monster from your extra deck back to your hand. If it's in your Pendulum zone, you can just add a Pendulum monster from your extra deck back to your hand. You can do that every single turn. So it's really cool. I like it. Electromite, the most important monster in the entire extra deck. It's at 1 for a reason. It's the main combo goer. It's the main card you go into. It searches out astrograph directly from the deck. Very cool stuff. Beyond the Pendulum, it's kind of like Heavy Metal Foes, but not really. In fact, you only need one. I only ever went into one, and it's rarely. I always went into Heavy Metal Foes like 80% of the time. This card, it's just good. It's not bad per se. Its effect is when it's link summoned in the extra monster zone, you can pay 1,200 life points, add 1 Pendulum monster in your deck to your hand, but you can't activate effects for the rest of the turn unless you Pendulum summon. And then if two monsters with different levels, which is really easy because there's a lot of monsters with different levels in this deck, you can destroy 2 cards on the field. Next up, we got Scareclaw Tryhard. This card's in here because it has 3 arrows pointing down, which is pretty nice. And it also has a very powerful effect that says, all face-up monsters on the field or change the defense position, unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. So, if you do this against like a fusion deck, let's say like Branded, and they really don't have a way to get rid of this, they're going to summon their Ice Jade Mirror. They're going to summon their big Branded boss monster. They're going to go like, hey, I'm going to attack. Nope, this guy switches all their monsters to defense, including yours, and their effects don't even affect this. So it's kind of an annoying card. I put it in there. Do I really go into it? No, but in search of matchups, it does come in handy just to have that ability in my extra deck to completely shut down an opponent's deck with 1 card. Next up, we have Borload Dragon. Do I go into this a lot? Not really. It's mainly in here because it can steal an opponent's monster, which is kind of useful, and sometimes that does come up. Appaloosa is the second most important card in the extra deck, mainly for the fact that it has 3 arrows pointing down, and its effect literally says, hey, if your opponent activates a monster effect, negate it. Usually you get up to 3 negates with this card, but you can get 4 because it's really easy to spam the board with monsters, as you'll see in the replays. The third most important card in the extra deck, Borland Dragon. This is just a big boss monster, pretty easy to go into, not gonna lie. You can just pendulum spam the board, so you're gonna be able to get 5 monsters on your field easy. And this guy just says, hey, alright. And this guy just says, hey, can't be destroyed by battle card effects, can't be targeted with monster effects, attacks all monsters your opponent controls. I'm just a big boss monster. You can't really use its quick effect to negate unless you're running a rocket. I'm not running rockets because it just doesn't work in this deck. And the final card is Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This card's only in here because we can use an opponent's monster. So if our opponent has a monster that's like, man, that monster's really annoying, just use your monster as material, you get rid of it, and you summon this big boss. And essentially, the best part of this card is that once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard, negate the effect. Now, is this deck beginner friendly? Well, you need to understand how pendulums work. I can explain quickly. Essentially, pendulums have these numbers, which is 0, 0. There's a blue and a red arrow. The most important thing about this is not the color or which arrow points where, it's just the number. The number 0 is really important because you should only use pendulums with numbers between like 0 and 8 or 0, 10 or like whatever it is. So for example, we have the numbers 2, and let's grab a monster with the number 8. So if we have both of these monsters, Harmonizing and Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, in our pendulum skills, we can pendulum summon any monster with the level 3 to 7. Not monsters 2 to 8, but everything in between 2 and 8. So only 3 and 7. And that's literally everything in the entire deck. That's why the deck is built around these numbers, the numbers being extremely low and extremely high. There's only a few cases where we have a card with a number like in the middle and it doesn't really work out. So I'm saying this right now, if you're more of a new player, I would recommend that you don't play the Draco Slayer engine, mainly for the fact that, look at this, it's a number 5, which is going to be awkward because you don't really want it on your scale. The other one's a number 3 and a number 3. So you don't really want these on your scale. You usually just use them as monsters from your hand. It complicates things a little bit if you're not really truly understanding how pendulums work. And with that, I'm going to go into the replays. I'll just be showing you how it works. The hands are all completely different. The games are going to be in gold, so it's not going to be the highest tier gameplay. But I just want to show you that the deck is a lot of fun and you can play through a lot of things. Okay, I got 6 replays for you all, and we're going to be starting with replay number 1. My opening hand is, it's interesting. We have Performapal Ladyange. I'm going to use that discard a Performapal from my hand, draw 2. We drew Extra Pendulum and Draco Face-Off. Draco Face-Off essentially just says, hey, get a monster from your deck for free on the field. We're going to do that. We're going to go into Electromite. I wasn't kidding when I said Electromite's the most important card we're going to be going into every single time. Now I'm going to pause here. We have in our hand a scale 1 and a scale 8. I could just use Purple Poison as one scale and Gentrude as the other scale and just pendulum 2 monsters. Gentrude has a unique effect as when it's destroyed, whether as a monster or in the pendulum scale, you can place a Performapal Pendulum monster from your deck into that zone. So we're going to use Electromite's effect. We're going to destroy Gentrude, add Astrograph to our hand. Electromite's going to attempt to draw us 1. Gentrude's going to search our deck for 1 Performapal monster, and Astrograph's going to special summon itself and search us a card. A lot of effects, Super basic combo. You're usually always doing this in Pendulum decks, at least until either Astrograph or Heavy Metal Foes is banned. And here we go. We're searching our deck for a card. We drew a card. Now we have a scale 6 and a scale 1. We can Pendulum summon any level 5 to level 2 monster. We're special summoning 4 level 4 monsters. Perform a Pendulum Sorcerer has the effect where we can destroy cards on our Pendulum scale or on our field and just add Pendulum monsters from our deck. And then we're going to go into Borland Dragon. Not the most impressive field. We're just ending on this. In hindsight, I should have ended on Appaloosa just because, I mean, Appaloosa is really good. We would have been able to stop this. We would have been able to stop more things. But it is what it is. We're playing against Rand. And they're going to summon Chimera Tech. Chimera has the effect where you can destroy 1 card on field. He draws 2 cards. Despia Tragedy, he gets to search his deck for a Despia monster. A lot of things going on over there. We don't have any interruptions. We can't destroy a monster during their turn. We can't negate an effect during their turn. So we're just sitting down. We're just waiting for them to end their turn until it's our turn. If we don't die. I don't know why they did this, but they're gonna summon Titanclad. They're gonna attack into a Borland. Borland, literally the first line of text says, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So maybe they didn't read our card, which is fine. Sometimes people don't like to read. Our turn, we're going to activate Harmonizing Magician. We have a scale 2 and a scale 8. We're going to normal summon Joker, add Harmonizing from our deck to your hand, and we're going to Pendulum summon 1, 2, 3. Oh, interesting. We're going to activate Pendulum Sorcerer's effect, destroy 2 cards, add 2 cards from our deck to your hand. We also have extra Pendulum Maker, so, I mean, if we want a Pendulum again, we can. We destroyed Purple Poison, which has the effect, when it's destroyed, destroy a face-up card on the field. So I destroyed his, Titanclad monster with 4 dozen attack. We're going to go into Ignister Prominence. This one has the effect where we can destroy something, shuffle a card on the field into the deck, so we shuffle back Confusion. We also get a special summon, a Pendulum monster from our deck for free. We're going to go into the battle phase and just going to attack him. And I'm going to attempt to attack with the Pendulum Sorcerer. His trap is like, you banish spells in your graveyard, summon a token. Misplay here, what I should have did was attack with Borland here, so that I could have attacked with this guy directly. Not the biggest deal in the world, it's just that I wasn't really thinking. This was my first game, and that's my excuse. We're going to Pendulum summon Astrograph Sorcerer because we have a scale 6 and a scale 8, so we can only Pendulum summon level 7, and that's the only level 7. And we're going to end on Appaloosa. Now, Appaloosa puts in work. Appaloosa is going to negate a monster in their graveyard, which that monster is not bad. It literally says, hey, special summon a Fallen of Albaz from your deck, or Dogmatica. Fallen of Albaz has the effect where they can fusion summon using our monsters. We would just lose so much advantage. They're going to add a Fallen of Albaz from their graveyard to your hand. They're going to fusion summon Mascadera Dragon. And they're going to banish this card from the graveyard. They're going to add back the Fallen of Albaz. And I think they're going to attempt to like activate, normal summon to activate the effect. Yeah. So they're going to discard from their hand. We're going to take damage because every time we activate a card, we're going to take damage. But it doesn't matter because we're going to negate Fallen of Albaz. If we don't negate this, we might die this turn. So, battle phase attacks over Appaloosa. We have no more monster effect negates. And it's our turn. Our scales really suck. We can only Pendulum summon 1 monster. That's Astrograph. So that's what we're going to do. Astrograph's going to come out on the field. We're going to take a little bit of damage because we're going to activate Gentrude's effect. I kind of forgot about Gentrude's effect because if I did that earlier, I could have Pendulum summoned more monsters, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. I kind of forgot. Borland's just going to attack. We're going to get rid of Masqueraded Dragon so we don't keep taking 600 every time we activate a card. Borland can attack every single monster our opponent controls, so we're just going to attack everything. Astrograph's going to go in for a big 26. Ouch. And Oak Dragon has the effect where we can add a card from our extra deck back to your hand. We're going to set a Purple Poison Magician, which is just a little insurance. So if it's destroyed, we can destroy a face-up card on the field. They are going to set a spell or trap, and it's our turn. Well, they have 3 spell or traps. We're going to Pendulum summon 1, 2, 3. This guy's going to destroy both the scales. We're going to add a Ladyange, and we're going to add a Lizardraw. I also believe, yep, we have a Ladyange on our graveyard, which we activate, just set it for free. So that's just straight from the graveyard. Lizardraw is going to be on the other scale, and we're going to make a Borland. Just in case Fusion summons something, I'll just steal his monster. Now, I want to say straight off the bat, I know I get a lot of new viewers who watch me, new to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm sorry if I'm not explaining things extremely correctly. You can feel free to leave a comment down below. Help me get a better grasp at, like, you know, explaining things. So in the next video, I can help out somebody. And maybe something I missed, and I can, you know, fix it over there. Regardless, our opening hand is Ladyange, Daggerman, Unexpected Die, Draco Face-Off, Duelist Alliance. And it looks like we're playing against Punk Bistios? It's interesting because Shinobi Necro is, I mean, do people really play that? It's not a bad card per se. When it's banished, you can special summon it. So maybe this guy knows something I don't. Regardless, our opening hand, we're going to be activating Unexpected Die first, because Unexpected Die says you control no monsters, special summon it, level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck. And we're gonna control monsters eventually, so we need to activate this first just to be able to get rid of it out of our hand. They're gonna summon the vampire, the zombie vampire, which essentially says, yeah, you can mill like cards from the top of the deck and then special summon a monster from the graveyard. Not a bad card. They're gonna take our Wisdom Eye Magician because we really need it. No. So it doesn't really affect me too much. They're gonna make their Baron de Fleur, which is an Omni Negate. And I think they're going to add back Chaos Ruler to the extra deck just for a free draw. Go into Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, Striker Dragon, and then Black Dragon's Collapse Serpent searches out the White Dragon Collapse Serpent, or whatever it's called, White Dragon Wyvern Buster. I'm going to go into Link 2, Heretic Seal. This one has the effect where you can tribute it and return a card, a face-up card on the field back to the hand. And during the end phase, they're going to add Chaos Dragon. Personally, I would have added a Bestial, but it's neither here nor there. It shouldn't really matter. And it's our turn. Unexpected Die. Are they going to negate it? They're not. Okay. Draco Face-Off. Are you going to negate this? They're not. Okay, now we got two monsters on the field. I'm going to activate Daggerman, grabs a monster from the graveyard, and they scooped. The main reason I showed this replay is that even if they did use the Baron de Fleur negate, we could still play through it. This deck is a grind deck. We can really grind through things. Alright, replay number 3. Let's see that opening hand. I love having Wisdom Eye in my hand because that is literally any magician. And we're going to activate Wisdom Eye. Wisdom Eye and Gentrude. Wisdom Eye is going to destroy itself, get an Oak Dragon. Now, the main reason I grabbed Oak Dragon is because it's a scale 2, and we can Pendulum Summon a level 3 to level 7 from our hand or extra deck, which is what we do. Symphonic Warrior DJJ. He's going to grab a Symphonic Warrior Synthess or whatever and face down defense. But that's not really going to be useful this turn. It's mainly there as defense. Electromite's going to be, we're going to go into Electromite, we're going to pop Gentrude, we're going to add an astrograph. Electromite, Gentrude, astrograph. That's usually how the combos go. Astrograph's going to special summon itself. Gentrude's going to search out a Performapal from our deck, put it in the scale. And Astrograph's also going to add us another Gentrude, which is nice. And then Electromite's going to draw us a free card. So here's our free card. Would we draw? Oh, another Lizardraw. Okay. We're going to use 4 monsters, and we're going to go into Appaloosa. Yep, Appaloosa is really important. 32,000 attack, and I mean, not 32,000, 3,200 attack. We can negate 4 monster effects. They're going to activate Signet Mining, and they're going to add a Mathmech. We're playing against Mathmech. Mathmech's not a deck to laugh about. It's a really, really, really powerful deck that can definitely dominate this duel. So I'm just going to use Appaloosa as much as I can because I don't want to give this person any leeway. They're going to summon this monster, try to special summon the graveyard. Nope. Appaloosa, negate. And I'm just going to try to negate as many things as I can because I don't think Appaloosa is going to survive for very long. I activate another card in their hand. Nope. Negate, and we're only down to 1 more negate. They can also just attack over Appaloosa if they want to. Some reason they don't, they just end their turn, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta play the game right. We're gonna flip up Symphonic Warrior, we're gonna add the little guitar dude. Main reason I added that one is because it is a level 3 tuner, and we will be going into synchros. We're gonna use Magician, Harmonizing Magician as a skill. Oak Dragon's gonna add back Wisdom Eye, and we're gonna normal summon that guy. Add back Harmonizing to our hand. We're going to activate Wisdom Eye, destroy itself, Harmonizing. Now we have a Harmonizing in our hand, so if we do Pendulum Summon, we're going to be able to special summon a monster from our deck. I don't think we're going to use that effect just because by this point we're kind of already dominating. And we're going to go into Baron de Fleur using our Symphonic Warrior. Baron de Fleur can destroy a card, it also is an Omni Negate effect, and we still have the Appaloosa, which is a monster effect negate. So we're kind of okay. We're going to Pendulum Summon again using the extra Pendulum card, and then we're going to bring out this Pendulum, Synchro monster, and just attack the game. I would say the main thing that I would take away from this is that there really is no bad hand. You can get a lot of weird cards in your hand, but you should be able to play through it every single time as long as you can make Electromite. If you can't make Electromite, things get a little bit wobbly. The Electromite's extremely important. It gets you so much free advantage. Regardless, we're playing against Heroic. Heroic has this like boss rank 4 monster, which is like, it makes it so you can't special summon, or your opponent can't special summon or normal summon. That card's a pain. Luckily, they don't make it, at least on turn 1, so we're kind of chilling a little bit. And they're also playing Nordics, so this is interesting. It's Nordic Heroic. I've never thought I'd see that combo. We're going to draw for turn, and our opening hand is insane. Ladyange, discard, draw 2, and we have a Butler in our hand if we want to get a free special. We're going to set up our scales. Daggerman's going to grab back a monster that we discarded with Ladyange back to our hand. Wisdom Eye is going to destroy itself and become any number, so we're going to grab an 8, and now we have a scale 8 and a 2. And I think we normal summon Gentrude here, right? And we special summon Butler by destroying a Odd Eyes or we're going to go into Electromite. Electromite's going to search out astrograph. It always searches out astrograph. We're going to set up our scales. Our scales are 3 and 8. And I say, oh, never mind. I'll destroy the scales, special summon astrograph, get a free draw from Electromite. And we're going to add back a Wisdom Eye because Wisdom Eye was destroyed this turn. We draw an extra Pendulum. Kind of sucks. We're going to use Wisdom Eye's effect to search out Oath Dragon. Oath Dragon's going to add back Wisdom Eye to our hand. And we're going to do our first Pendulum summon. Yeah, we didn't even Pendulum summon that time. We're going to Pendulum summon 4 cards. And we're going to go into a Synchro 8. I love Synchro 8s. This is when I first tested Tilting Entertainment. And this is why I say this card sucks. Because look at that. I mean, that's all I did. He just summoned 1 monster. And I was like, okay, well, I can't do anything else. I mean, it does get rid of their XYZ because if it attacks something, you can like destroy the monster it attacks. It's kind of cool, but it's not really that good. Okay, we're gonna go into. I'm pretty sure we're going to Appaloosa because Appaloosa is just insane. Yeah, Appaloosa. They have 3 cards in their hand. They're gonna draw 1 more. If they activate a card effect we don't like, we just negate it. We're gonna use extra Pendulum. We're gonna special summon 1 monster from our extra deck, and it's just gonna be a Gentrude. Just in case things go really bad, if Gentrude's destroyed and we don't have our skills anymore, we can search out another Performapal as a skill. Appaloosa's gonna negate the effect in the hand, and now we're just playing like, okay, well, I'm gonna negate everything you have, and next turn just attack for damage. Heroic Call. Special summon a warrior from the graveyard, and they go into a link. They go into this one. This is the one I was talking about. Very scary. If it had 3 effects, unaffected by other card effects, it has 4 materials. I can't even normal or special summon. And then they go into Zeus. So for anybody who's curious, I'm going to teach you a little something here. If you summon Zeus and your opponent has a full field of monsters and they only have 1 card in their hand and they're only going to draw 1 card for the next draw phase, and they have no cards in their graveyard that do anything really, I mean besides Ladyange, that's kind of decent, you should activate Zeus right away. This person does not activate Zeus right away, which is a mistake. They should have, because if they did, they would have been in a better position. Because we're going to activate Oath Dragon's effect, we're going to add a monster from our extra deck. Oh, free monster. We're going to attempt to activate Electromite, and that's when they realize, like, okay, I can't keep giving you free cards. Zeus, send everything on the field to the graveyard and an extra deck. Boom. And then I'm like, well, I already activated Oath Dragon's effect. I already got a free card. Time to play the game. Gentrude, we're going to use Lizardraw. Lizardraw is going to destroy itself. And then we got Ladyange in the graveyard, set itself as a skill. We have a scale 1, scale 8, Pendulum Summon. How many monsters? I think just 2, right? 1 from the extra deck and 1 from our hand. Oath Dragon, when it's special summoned, we can add a monster from our graveyard to our hand. We discarded a monster to add a Gentrude back from our extra deck. And then also, Sympathronic can just special summon a monster from our deck. Only face down though. So that's what we do. We're going to do Beyond the Pendulum now. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Beyond the Pendulum, we're going to add a card. And we have extra Pendulum, so we can Pendulum again. We're going to Pendulum summon again, 2 monsters, astrograph, and I think it's Oath, right? Oh, no, Daggerman. And now we have Beyond the Pendulum, where if you Pendulum summon 2 monsters with different levels, destroy 2 cards in the field. So we got rid of the Zeus, and attack for game. Alright, second to last replay, and our opening hand is really bad, actually. Let's look at this. We have a scale 3, okay, a scale 0, scale 1, and we top deck a scale 6. Lucky. Alright, let's do this. Lizardraw is going to draw us a card. And I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have did that. Well, we got lucky. We got Unexpected Die. We're going to normal summon this, the Warrior Guitaar ZZ or SS, whatever his name is. And we're going to go into Sympathronic Warrior Rocks. And this guy's going to grab back Lizardraw. We need Lizardraw because it's a scale 6. And we have a scale 1. Now we can Pendulum summon monsters. So we're going to Pendulum summon Warrior Guitaar again. And we're going to Pendulum summon everything in our hand. We're going to go into Baron de Fleur. I want to go into Verdant de Fleur because it can negate anything and it can also destroy a card. They're going to activate Forbidden Droplet. I'm going to pause here because activating Forbidden Droplet right there, it's good. It's going to negate our Verdant de Fleur, which is nice. It gets rid of the Omni-Negate. We can't respond to it because they discarded a monster. They played really well there. This is where they don't. They chain a monster effect. They shouldn't have did this because now I have the chance to chain Verdant de Fleur and negate that. Otherwise, if they just waited a little bit and didn't chain, Verdant de Fleur's negate effect would have went away and I wouldn't have been able to chain and negate that. But, I mean, you know, everybody misplays. It's okay. We're going to destroy the card in their hand, and Verdant de Fleur's effects can get negated. Forbidden Droplet's still going to get destroyed because it's activated, so it's going to leave the field. And, yeah, they're going to send a Bestial from their deck to the graveyard. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, what do we do now? Well, Electromite. Like, what else? Electromite's going to search out Astrograph. Electromite's going to pop a card in their scale, add Astrograph. Astrograph's going to special itself. Electromite's going to draw us a card. Yada yada. Basic combo. And we add a Lady Edge using Astrograph, and we draw Foolish Burial. Okay, I'll play ball. Foolish Burial will send the Butler. I don't really need Butler right now, so I'm going to use it. And we're just attack with 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, main phase 2. I'm like, yeah, let's just go into, let me think, Appaloosa. Yeah, I usually always end on Appaloosa. It's extremely important. They have 1 card in their hand, they're going to draw 1 more card. The only thing that outs Appaloosa here is a trap or spell. Like if they activate a monster effect, oh, excuse me, or Lava Golem. Kinda forgot that existed. Or anything that can tribute over Appaloosa. Lava Golem, we're going to take 1,000 burn damage. I'm going to set up my scales. We have a scale 6, a scale 8. Those are terrible. No worries. A Butler can destroy Gentrude, and then when Gentrude's destroyed, it searches out a Performapal. So we search out Sorcerer. And then we have Warrior Guitaar, which just adds us a card in our Pendulum scale back to our hand. And I think that's enough damage for the game. Boom, and boom. Alright, this is going to be the final replay, and I want to say another quick word from our sponsor, me. If you like this video, please like the video. It shows a lot of support, it pushes me up in the algorithm, and it really does support me, and it helps me make more content like this. So again, if you like the video, and consider subscribing. Let's resume. Alright, our hand, absolutely crazy, man. We're playing against vampires, and they don't really set up a big board. So we're kind of being chilly. We're going to activate Wisdom Eye, Duelist Alliance, Ash Blossom against Duelist Alliance, so it negates us. It doesn't really matter, our hand's nuts, we have Wisdom Eye in our hand. Usually any hand with Wisdom Eye is just an insane hand. We have Performapal Celestial Magician, Wisdom Eye can destroy itself, search out Oak Dragon, and we're going to Pendulum summon 4 monsters. 4 monsters are Wisdom Eye, the Draco Slayer, the Tuner level 3, and Harmonizing. The Tuner level 3 is going to bounce Celestial back to our hand. Bouncing just means return it back to the hand. And Harmonizing is going to special summon Purple Poison directly from our deck. We're going to go into Sympathronic Warrior Rocks. Yeah! It gets to add us a card from our extra deck back to our hand. Wisdom Eye. Wisdom Eye isn't a hard one to return, by the way, so if we add it back to our hand, we activate it again if we have the open space, we can just, you know, search another card. We're not going to do that because this time, I kind of wanted to mess around with the Pendulum effect of Warrior Rocks. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to special summon Astrograph Sorcerer, and then Warrior Rocks is going to become in our Pendulum scale. We're going to normal summon Celestial Magician, activate the effects, so when the end phase we add a card, and we're going to go into Appaloosa. Not really super impressive, but I mean, it is what it is. I mainly just wanted to mess around with Warrior Rocks because this card is just so bonkers. And yeah. End phase, we add a card using Celestial Magician. Standby phase, we add a card from our extra deck. Even if it's on our opponent's turn, doesn't matter. We're still adding it. And our opponent's going to activate Monster Reborn. Okay, we're going to do their vampire stuff. I'm going to speed it along a little bit. We're going to activate the effect. Negate. Okay, we're going to activate the other vampire effect. Okay, negate. We're going to activate the vampire effect again. Negate. And that's it. Anyways, I know this wasn't the most competitive or high-tier gameplay, but I really just wanted to share this deck out there because I think it's fun, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who play Pendulums, who like my content, my other Pendulum videos, and wanted to see what I've been up to. So, this is that. My name's KushiKush, aka Kush, and I hope you have a great day or night, and maybe I'll catch you next time. Later.